Welcome to my channel. This is the Rewritten podcast. Today we are talking about identity is the real manifestation hack. Let me tell you something that might change your life. You are not stuck because of your strategy. You are not stuck because of the economy. And you are not stuck because you need another certification. You are stuck because of who it is that you believe that you are. Not your goals, not your vision board, not your 5-year plan. Your identity. And until your identity changes, your income won't. Your relationship won't. Your body won't. Your business won't. Your identity encompasses everything about you because identity is the thermostat. And that's because you don't get what you want. You get what matches who you believe it is that you are. And today we're going to talk about how to change that. When people think identity, they think I'm a mom, or I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm not good with money, or I'm bad with money. I'm shy. I'm not good on camera. I'm not photogenic. But identity isn't what you say. It's what feels true in your nervous system, what you're actually embodying. It's the story that runs automatically. The script that's playing when something good happens or when something scary happens. For example, you get an opportunity and your mind says, that's not for people like me. That's identity. You raise your prices and you immediately feel guilt. That's identity. You start to succeed and you sabotage it. That's identity. Identity is your invisible ceiling. You can desire millions. You can journal abundance. You can visualize your dream home. But if your identity says, I'm someone who struggles, I'm someone who has to work twice as hard, I'm someone who always gets overlooked, then your nervous system will correct back to that baseline. This is why people win the lottery and then lose it all. This is why people hit 6-figure incomes and drop back down. This is why people fall in love and then push it away. Your identity will always win. Your subconscious will protect familiarity over expansion. It's just how it's designed, even if familiarity hurts. So let's break identity into 4 layers. What do you say about yourself? I'm overwhelmed. I'm behind. I'm tired. I'm not techie. Words reinforce identity. What feels normal to you? Is it normal to feel stress, to feel overwhelmed, to feel scarcity or drama? Or does it feel normal to be calm, to be in the flow, to have more than enough? If peace feels unfamiliar, you will create chaos. What do you tolerate? Late payments, disrespect, low prices, overworking? Your standards reveal your identity. When you close your eyes, who are you in your own mind? Do you see a leader, a millionaire, a powerful woman, or someone who's still trying to prove herself? This is the core. Here's the part that people miss. Identity does not change through information. It changes through repetition and embodiment. So if you're stuck in a cycle of just getting more information, learning more, and not actually taking that and embodying any of it, you're missing this really important piece. You don't think your way into wealth. You behave your way in. Let me give you an example. If you say, I want to be wealthy, but you avoid looking at the numbers, undercharge, don't follow up, and don't make bold offers, then your actions reinforce your current identity. But if you begin acting like the woman who reviews her finances weekly, raises your prices with certainty, speaks with authority, and moves with calm, your nervous system starts to adapt. Your identity shifts through evidence of what you feel. Small wins, consistent behavior, and aligned action. I actually want to share a story about someone who is on our team who had this happen. So in our company, we teach this stuff. We live and breathe all of this stuff. Like manifesting is like a core part of who we are, and understanding who we are as each individual and going on a self-knowing journey with each individual is super important. Everyone in the company is always getting better. They're always learning. They're always learning to become their best and highest version of themselves. But what happens when you're in an environment that doesn't match who you believe you are is that invisible ceiling knocks you out. So we had a team member who was in one of our companies for almost 10 years, and she was part of the family. We loved her. We still love her. However, her self-identity never could wrap her mind around manifesting. She would try, she would ask questions, she would make little shifts, but it always came back down to she didn't believe she was worthy. And this individual was able to make $130,000 a year working 2 days a week in one of our companies and self-sabotaged it. Couldn't get on board with our culture and the way that we do things. And when this happens, this is just identity tapping you out. She ended up having to leave the company after 10 years and going to do it all on her own for probably not the same amount of money or anywhere close to it, and working way more days a week because her identity wouldn't allow her to believe that she was deserving of this. Identity is so important. It's so important that you can wrap your mind around being the person who has what you desire, the life that you desire. So this is where my 4-part system comes in. Desire, thoughts, identity, inspired action. Desire is the spark. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. If you don't desire, you can't change anything. Thoughts expand possibility. When you allow your mind to just grow and think of what could be possible, it starts to find ways to make it real for you. Your mind is always looking to make your truth reality. Identity is the embodiment, the feeling of being that version of yourself. And then inspired action is the proof. And we'll talk about that next week. You don't wait to feel confident. You move like that version of you. You speak like her. You decide like her. And every time you act from that place, you cast a vote. You are voting on your future self. Let's do something practical. Ask yourself, who would I be already if I had the business that I want, the body I want, the relationship I want? How would she walk into a room, price her offers, speak about herself, handle rejection, spend money? How would she invest? Now choose one behavior, just one, and start doing it immediately. Identity doesn't require a 12-step plan. It requires one courageous shift repeated daily. You're not here to just survive. None of us came here to just survive and to be stuck in that mode. You're here to expand. Expandment allows for fulfillment. It allows for you to contribute. And it allows you to be the person that you came here to be. And if you're watching this, something inside of you knows that you're meant for more. But the world doesn't need the version of you that's just chasing goals. It needs the version of you who's already decided who she is. You change your bloodline by changing your identity. You change your income by changing your identity. You change your marriage by changing your identity. Not by force and not by hustle, but by becoming the woman that holds that reality naturally. Identity first, results second. And when identity shifts, everything else follows. I have another story about identity and how your family and the people you love can accidentally program your identity. So when my sister and I first started my hair salon, I was 25 and she was 23. I was a mom with 2 kids. I had only been doing hair for just under a year. My sister finished esthetician school and decided she hated skincare. And so she was just going to be the receptionist. And we were like, no matter what, we're doing this. So we tell our mom, we're going to open a hair salon. And we had everything ready. Like everything was ready to go. She had no idea, but we're like, we're doing this. And she said something along the lines of, we don't do that. It wasn't even on purpose. It was just her own programming. That's not what we do. Just go work for someone. And it stung a little bit. What do you mean that's not what we do? But at the same time, it challenged me. Let me show you what we do now. And I could have taken that and been like, oh my gosh, she's right. That's not what we do. We don't know what we're doing. We don't understand this. We have no clue. We're 23 and 25 with no experience. But luckily, we took it as a challenge and we went for it. She even said, I can't afford to pay for another one of your mistakes. We made a lot. But mistakes mean you tried. The only person who's not going to succeed is the person who won't allow themselves to fail. And unfortunately, my mom had been programmed to believe that none of these things were possible for her. And since they weren't possible for her, she didn't think they were possible for us. Now she's my biggest fan. My sister is no longer part of the company, but she has her own thing going on. And my mom is so proud of where we've gotten to from this point. But she didn't want us to do it. She thought it was a bad idea. In fact, my husband at the time, his boss told him, "What is wrong with your wife?" It was 2008 and the economy was crashing. It was July of 2008. So it had been crashing. And he said, "This is not a time to be opening a business." And so my husband didn't even see the salon for 2 weeks after we opened because he was so against it. My mom wanted nothing to do with it. She told us not to do it. So we just pretended we weren't. We had friends that made comments about, "You're going to do it just like you were going to open that coffee stand and just like you were going to do that other thing you said you were going to do. And you were a real estate agent and you were this and you were that." But I had tried so many things and failed, but I kept getting up and trying again. And so if I had allowed them to shape my identity, or the perception of who I was to shape my identity, I would never be who I am today. In my mind, I was an entrepreneur. In my mind, I had the best salon on earth, and everyone who came in was going to love it and feel good, and I was going to change lives, and I was going to change my own life and my family's life. And because of that identity, I did. So I just wanted to illustrate how important it is to not take on other people's perceptions. It's almost always the people that love you the most that say the most terrible things to take you off track. And it's out of love and it's out of fear, but you know who you are. You know why you're here, and you know what you desire. Don't let the outside noise change your identity. You're probably already living a result of some of that programming. So to close today, I challenge you to figure out who you are. Who are you really at your core? You're the girl that never gives up. You're the rich girl. You're the girl that's changing lives. You're the woman who changed her whole bloodline. You're the woman who left a legacy. And remember, you hold the pen that writes your story. Thanks for listening today.